Within 9 months after making gold illegal to own, the president raised the official price to $35 an ounce, and then those dollars the ex-gold owners received in exchange had been devalued by 40% overnight. So the gold you just had raised in value, but the dollars you just got for it devalued by 40%. I'm sure every single one of you at some point in time has heard of or thought about the possibility of the confiscation of your precious metals. The most famous case was the Executive Order 6102 by FDR in 1933, saying that you have to turn in all of your gold, and if not, you will pay a $10,000 fine, 10 years imprisonment, or both. And people say, well, that was in 1933, that would never happen nowadays. Well, this has happened several times throughout history all across the world. I'll actually be sharing several different instances of this happening, and there is a consistent pattern. It's always in times of war, financial uncertainty, economic uncertainty, crisis, something along those lines, and right now we are in the middle of all of those things. But Silver Slayer, I stack silver. It only has happened with gold, right? Wrong. There's another executive order that came out the year after the Executive Order 6102. This is Executive Order 6814 by FDR, stating that you now have to give us all of your silver. Yes, you heard me correctly. Silver confiscation was also a thing that happened a year after gold. And guess what? The penalties were the same. Give us your silver. If not, you will pay a $10,000 fine or spend 10 years imprisonment or both. So with this situation, it begs to differ question of people saying, well, gold, which, by the way, most people that know about Executive Order 6102 do not know about Executive Order 6814. They just hear about gold confiscation and peg it to war, right? Wartime statute, talking about financial situations, Federal Reserve, the Great Depression. It's all around that because gold is a monetary metal. It makes sense. Gold is what determines a country's wealth to some extent, right? So gold confiscation makes perfect sense. Gold is strictly a monetary metal, right? And this was made under the authority of the Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917 and then amended by the Emergency Banking Act of March 33. But where does silver come into play then? Well, we're going to dive into this because if we could see the reasons they confiscated people's silver back in 1934, we could get a better idea of the possibility of it happening today. Now, I have to say times are a lot different, and I would say if they were to confiscate our silver, it would not be for the same reason as it was back in the day. There's a lot to this. There's a deep rabbit hole, and I'm sure if you talk to anybody that has any opinion or any expertise into silver, they're going to give their own opinion, which will slightly vary from person to person. There is no right or wrong answer. All we could do is speculate in giving historic data of what has happened and the possibility of what would happen. But we are in foreign waters, pun intended, because we've never been in a situation right now with de-dollarization, bringing back the gold standard, the possibility of an entire reset with the BRICS nations building their own digital currency backed by physical commodities, the dollar's losing 98% of its purchasing power, $34 trillion in debt, handing billions upon billions out to different countries for war. But then on top of that, not only funding other countries' wars, we need silver to also make these wars happen. So silver confiscation could fit in the category of, well, we need silver because silver's used in missiles, satellites, drones, and everything, nukes. It's used in everything that has to do with military. Well, it takes up to 500 ounces of silver in a single Tomahawk missile. So if United States is currently involved in 5 wars, proxy or not, and then we need silver for satellites and tanks and solar panels and EVs and trying to push that whole Green New Deal as well and zero net emissions by the year 2040, along with war, along with everything else that's silver's literally used in everything you could possibly think of, then silver confiscation makes a lot more sense in the terms of its industrial value in today's times. Whereas before, you could see it was for coinage. So people who are comparing silver confiscation to the Executive Order 6814 are missing the reason, missing the mark entirely, because there's a whole other reason why that could happen today. What's the possibility? Some people say it's highly possible. Some people say it's highly not. It really is, who's to say though, because we are living in crazy times, so expect crazy things to happen. And I doubt anyone back then would have expected it to happen either before it did. So let's just dive straight into this. We're going to go over this and then another article which is talking about gold and silver confiscation. Can the government seize our assets? In this article, could the government confiscate my metals? They both bring two different points to the table that I wanted to highlight. But first, let's go over presidency.ucsb.edu, which is talking about the Executive Order 6814, requiring the delivery of all silver to the United States for coinage. This is the actual executive order. So by virtue of authority vested in me by the Silver Purchase Act of 1934 and all of other authority vested in me, I, Franklin D. Roosevelt, President of the United States of America, do hereby require the delivery of all silver situated in the continental United States on the effective date hereof by any and all persons owning, possessing, or controlling any such silver, and do hereby require any and all persons owning, possessing, or controlling any such silver to deliver the same in the manner, upon the conditions, and subject to the exceptions herein contained, such action being, in my judgment, necessary to effectuate the policy of the Silver Purchase Act of 1934. Section 2. Silver required to be delivered. There shall be delivered in accordance with the terms of this order all silver situated in the continental United States on the effective date hereof, except silver falling within any of the following categories, so long as it continues to fall under A. Silver coins, whether foreign or domestic, B. Silver of a fineness of 0.8 or less, which has not entered into industrial, commercial, professional, artistic, or monetary use. C. Silver mined after December 21st, 1933, from natural deposits in the United States or any place subject to the jurisdiction thereof, provided, however, that so much of silver so is mined in the continental United States on or before the effective date of this order, which shall not have been deposited with a United States mint tender under the proclamation of December 21st, 1933, shall, if processed to a fineness greater than 0.8 within 75 days from the effective date of this order, be delivered in accordance with this order, no later than 90 days from the effective date, or if processed of a fineness greater than 0.8 after 75 days from the effective date of this order, be delivered within 15 days thereafter in accordance with the order. See, there's a lot of word salad. Not even really word salad, just a lot of words make it a little confusing, but here's the thing, I really want to make this clear. This would not be how it would look today, because back then it was silver for coinage. Now it would be silver for silver. So whether it is a foreign coin, whether it is a round, whether it is a bar, whether it is pellets, whatever it is, whether it's a cast, a silver fork or whatever, a necklace, it would all be melted down for silver. Silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity. Remember, there's 500 ounces of silver in a single tomahawk missile. It would be for the industrial side. So these same laws, literally laws, would not be in effect as they were back then, if you get what I'm saying. D, silver held for industrial, professional, artistic use, and unmelted scrap silver and silver sweepings in an amount not exceeding the aggregate 500 fine troy ounces belonging to any one person. And E, silver owned on the effective date hereof by a recognized foreign government, foreign central bank, or bank of international settlements. Okay, so here section 3 is time and delivery, or time and place of delivery. Section 3, time and place of delivery. The silver required to be delivered here under shall be delivered not later than 90 days from the effective date, and that's to the United States Mint nearest to the place where the silver is situated immediately prior to delivered, provided that such silver temporarily falling within the exempt I just thought of another thing as well. They're saying, you know, whatever mint's nearest to the place the silver is situated. Nowadays, with postal, it probably would be a lot different. A lot of people would probably say, well, what would they pay us for it? Well, because, you know, silver spot price moves every minute of every business day. And it would probably be something along the lines of setting a price, just like the gold standard, just like they're bringing back the gold standard right now. It would probably be some type of set price of maybe 20. I don't know. I mean, we're in such a weird situation where whatever the time frame of the order is would probably be whatever closest to spot price is. For example, if this were to happen in today's time, it would probably be $25, right? Whatever spot price is. That's what they'd buy it back from you for. But it's not buying it back. You have to turn it in, but they still would pay you for it. It's not like they're just gonna kick down your door, steal your safe, and just leave you hanging, right? But you have to sell it. So you still would be rewarded, just in worthless dollars. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like when they think silver confiscation, they think, you know, the SWAT team's gonna kick down their door and have guns in their face and say, "Give us your silver." It's like it's not gonna look like that, or wouldn't, I hope. You know, I hope not. But yeah, there's a lot to this. I could say, and I could completely contradict myself and say, well, it really is just a theoretical situation that you have to think about the possibilities of, because it has happened before, and for the reasons it happened before are not the reasons it would happen again, meaning that there's a completely new situation arising of the silver shortage. If the silver shortage wasn't a problem, I wouldn't be sitting here making this video. If we weren't involved in 5 wars, with silver being so heavily used in war, with a shortage on top of it, with the U.S. Defense Department literally raiding our silver stockpiles from the United States, I wouldn't be making this video. But this has happened. This is happening. And the silver shortage is getting worse with record-breaking supply deficits. That's a fact. That's a situation that is unfolding and getting more extreme and worse and worse and worse. So this is a possibility. And if for you to acknowledge it's not possible at all is leaving yourself hanging. That is being foolish. Because I'm sure nobody before this order came out thought that an executive order would come out and to return all their silver. They're saying, no, that would never happen. The government would never confiscate our silver. And then, bam, it happens one morning. You wake up and it's in the newspaper, front page. Or you know, Executive Order 6102 came out, and they're saying, well, it never happened with silver. Why would they happen? Why silver, right? Why silver? Gold's a monetary metal, gold, right? Silver's using our coins. Bam, then it happens. Let's look at the solutions to confiscation risk, because that's obviously the next question after you say, well, they can confiscate my, okay, so what should I do? So let's go over this one. And I hope you guys have followed along so far, because I just wanted to give some context of what happened, how it happened, when it happened, why it happened, could it happen again, right? And now we're getting into some of the meat and potatoes. Most people probably clicked off the video by now, and those are the people that miss out. So if you stuck around so far, tap yourself on the back. You want to get every piece of information that will pay off. So, solutions to confiscation risk. There's lots of speculation floating around the web to what one might do if gold was confiscated again. And you could also say silver. Unfortunately, majority of most common solutions don't hold up in such scrutiny, or much scrutiny. So some investors assume silver would be exempt. That's usually because past confiscation mainly focused on gold, since silver wasn't a part of the monetary system. However, what many investors don't know is that a year after 1933, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6814 that required delivery of all silver as well. I'm glad they mentioned that in there. So many dealers claim numismatic coins would be excluded. I'm sure people and watch this. I bet you, the people that have not watched this far into the video, I bet a lot of them would make this comment. I bet you'll see them down there. I bet you were about to until you saw this part, maybe. I bet a lot of people are going to be trying to be the smartest guy in the room, saying, oh, this wouldn't happen with X, Y, and Z, without even going far enough in the video to see where I covered these parts. And That bugs me the most with my channel is when I see someone comment something and clearly they didn't watch the full video because they mentioned something that I specifically talked about in the video. They just didn't wait long enough to watch the entire thing. They just assumed I didn't talk about it. Which, go join my Patreon page, patreon.com/silverslayer. It's the new secret silver club. That's where real Silverstack can go and hang out and stuff and live stream. But anyways, so many dealers claim numismatic coins would be excluded, since there was an exception made for rare coin collectors in 1933. But as history will show, during past confiscations, the onus was on the investor to prove they were a coin collector and not a bullion buyer. Unless you owned a substantial amount of rare coins, you were automatically deemed to a bullion owner and not a collector. The uncomfortable truth is no one knows exactly what form of confiscation would take and how new laws might be enforced. And that's what I was mentioning earlier. It's impossible to say what would happen or what it would look like or what would or wouldn't happen. It's impossible because the reasons, especially because the reasons of them confiscating silver today would not be for the same reasons as they were before. And then Mike Maloney mentioned this, and I quote, "Confiscation all comes down to this. Government might make the rules, change the rules, and enforce the rules. Though it lacks the moral right, it can create legal authority." Just like when they banned silver in 1980 with the Hunt brothers, right? They just made a law on the spot banning silver. Wait, they did? Yeah, silver got banned. So, though it lacks the constitutional empowerment, it can turn a blind eye to the Constitution. The Constitution did not stop the government from taking people's gold in 1933. Political leaders can do whatever they want, can and will do whatever they want or deem necessary at the time in any way they see fit for as long as they think it's needed, especially during war. Especially during war. When the gold investor considers the number of ways to confiscate, or ways confiscation could take place, how long it could last, how easily the government could change the rules, and how deeply it could reach, all against the backdrop of an economic or monetary crisis, it underscores the need to put a viable strategy in place. What's really viable is a lesson best learned by the mistakes and success of the past. Why it could happen, and it's happened before. Now, financial crisis reached emergency levels. Politicians didn't hesitate to grab the private net worth of the citizens. And in many cases, it was portrayed as patriotic. Your country is threatened, help save your country. And that is another thing that I wanted to mention. If you look historically, and it would be, it would be patriotic. Historically, people were more patriotic. I don't think people would follow the same rules. People are not as American as they were back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That's true. But they would flip it, and if I was them, I would flip it as, it's not even about being American, it's about saving the planet. Why are we trying to go green? Because global warming and climate change is real to some say it is, some say it's not. We're trying to save the planet, go green. We need solar panels and EVs. Well, we need silver for these. We don't have enough silver to go green, which we literally don't. So they could say, turn in your silver, help us push more electric vehicles, because it could even possibly throw in, we might have to halt the production of amount of Teslas or whatever, or cut back the amount of solar panels or whatever. And then they could push that narrative of, try to help us save the planet, be a lot more likely to work than just saying, give us your silver for unknown reasons or whatever. That would probably be the angle they would take. Not saying it would happen, but I'm saying, who knows, like that sentence said above there, how could you tell what could happen, or the depth of it, or the intent of it? You really can't. Here's 1933, labeled Executive Order 6102, forbidding the hoarding of gold coin, gold bullion, gold certificates within the United States. So basically meant private owners were required to take their coins, bars, gold certificates to the bank and exchange them for US dollars at a rate of $20.67 an ounce. That's crazy. $20 an ounce. And you said, the Great Depression wasn't showing any signs of abating. Within 9 months after making gold illegal to own, they raised the official price to $35 an ounce. and the dollars those ex-gold owners received in exchange had just been devalued by 40% overnight. Did you just hear what I said? Listen to what they did. Within 9 months after making gold illegal to own, the president raised the official price to $35 an ounce, and then those dollars the ex-gold owners received in exchange had been devalued by 40% overnight. So the gold you just had raised in value, but the dollars you just got for it devalued by 40%. Isn't that insane? And then it happened in Australia, the Australia Gold Confiscation Act of 1959, Great Britain's gold ban 1966. Any patterns here? Yes. Imposed by Western governments, economic crisis lasted for a long time, forbidding any type of hoarding, and it's all around war. We had Russia, Germany confiscation of Czech gold, Italy's gold donation, right? They called it a donation. So think about it, folks. Think about it, right? Help save your nation. Your country's threatened. Help save your nation. Think about it. And these were just in the past 80 years, all these different situations. Some of them only a couple decades ago. I really want you guys to think logically about this, because I feel like a lot of people already had the biased perspective of thinking it would never happen. So when they see me make a video like this saying, oh, it's possible, they already have thought to themselves, they've made up their mind saying it's not. So then they come into my video already assuming that I'm going to say something wrong or goes against their previous thoughts on this, without being open-minded enough to look at the new situation or the new points I made or the new reasons. And then they just will not accept it because they want to be the smartest guy in the room. They would have already come into my video thinking that they know more than me or they have a better point than me. And the reality is none of us know. And to be as open-minded as possible, open-minded just means looking at both sides. And looking at both sides, there is clearly a reason why they could. Would they, though? Who knows? But it's the government, so why wouldn't they? It's not like they've ever had any moral authority in the past. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. It's a very long video. But this is always a long topic and a very diverse conversation. I could have dug way deeper into this, but, I went, for the sake of my video, I didn't want to make it too long. I'll probably be posting longer type videos on my Patreon. I'm also going to start live streaming on here and make sure that you guys subscribe. And yeah, I'll be jumping out of an airplane soon as we hit 100,000 subscribers for my giveaway. Go enter that. Entry video is still open as well. Don't miss it because you're about to if you don't. Links in the description of the pinned comment as well. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow or later tonight. Peace.